This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Radar, and I'm so excited to be speaking with Elizabeth Banks about Press Your Luck. How are you, Elizabeth?
I'm great. I'm also excited to be talking about Press Your Luck. Thanks for having me.
How was my intonation in saying it? Do I have enough excitement?
Well, no one's gonna beat, our announcer. It's from Hollywood, California. I mean, it's one of my favorite things to hear.
Is that a big part of the show for you, getting to say things a certain way, when people prompt you?
Um, yes, but also I don't mind surprising people too every once in a while.
Did you grow
Yeah.
up watching game shows?
I did. I grew up watching game shows. My mom's, I think, still watches Jeopardy every night. Um, I loved summer and staying home and getting to watch The Price is Right was one of my favorites. I loved The Price is Right. I loved Plinko. Remember Plinko? Um, that was a favorite. And then I watched the original Press Your Luck with Peter Tamarkin with my sister after school, and I love, the whammy and I mean the whole thing. We just loved it. I mean, all you had to do was hit this button, and the things went around, and they always had such fun and silly and surprising prizes. And I think we've kept a lot of that spirit in the show, and then also evolved it and expanded it, which is, I'm really proud of the direction we've taken it.
For those unfamiliar with the original show, what do you think is substantially different about this one?
Well, what's substantially different is in our format, and we've really leaned into our contestants. We have incredible contestant producers. We really treat the contestants as almost like, as casting on the show, in the way that we delve into their story. We love the drama of who they are. We bring their supporters along, so we interview them as well, and then we have these incredible personalized prizes. I mean, I it's one of the things that really drew me into this version of it was being able to go on a really emotional, exciting journey for people, and start to understand how the show and the experience would change or affect their lives. That's what's really the privilege of making the show, is getting to touch people's lives, kind of meet them where they are, and then maybe, give them hundreds of thousands of dollars, and like, the prize that they never thought they'd ever have. Like I was thinking about, we had this one guy who came on. I mean, I have some really amazing stories from the very first season, but this past season we had, this older man, and he was retiring, and he wanted this retirement party. I believe he was a Padres fan, I believe, and he wanted it at the stadium. And as soon as he won it, he walked away. He didn't care about the cars. He didn't care about the money. It was like, oh, I just won my dream retirement party. I can have all my friends and family. He was like, I'm good. I'm out of here. And it's interesting to kind of figure out or find the prize that might either make someone walk away or stay and play. What is the thing that they feel like, oh man, if you dangle that in front of me, I mean, that's just like something they never thought would happen. That's when the show is really, really fun.
What would that prize be for you?
People always ask me that. It's so funny. I mean, for me, it would involve taking family somewhere, probably on a big trip. I mean, some of the trips that we do, like the around the world stuff, or like, these crazy second weddings, and, in like the Seychelles or whatever, we're sending people to all these incredible places. That's always really interesting to me. Because it means treating other people too. It's not just for me. Like, I don't need a car. I'd love to take people on a big trip that I don't have to plan. Are you kidding me? Where the itinerary is all laid out, and they're like, and you're gonna have a boat trip this day, and you're gonna swim with a manatee or something. Like, that's the kind of stuff we can do, and that would be my dream, being able to treat the family to something.
You think you would be just in search of that one prize, or you would press your luck and just keep going?
I find, so for me, the front game is the most stressful because you're waiting to figure. First of all, it's more strategy based. The second half of the game, you're playing against the board. You got to hit the button. There's no strategy. You're in it. The first half, because there's a lot of strategy with the spin passing and who's going to stay and play and, racking up the money and all of that. I find that first half to be really, really stressful. And I get like so frustrated with the contestants who don't play the game, who like, oh God, they gotta pass their spins. Like, why are they keeping going? They're already ahead. There's people that literally are winning the game and they keep pressing their luck. That drives me crazy. So I get really stressed out in the front game. The second half, frankly, everybody that plays the second half has already won. So they've already are going to leave the show with more than they came with, and they're having an incredible experience. And most of them at that point are kind of out of their bodies. I mean, truly, half of my job at that point is just like keeping them calm and like present, because they really are like, is this really happening? Like, what's really going on? And they almost like leave. It's wild. And they've gotten to talk to their supporters, their friends and family, and they've just come through something that's like their adrenaline is through the roof, from the front game. So that's that second half for me. It's actually weirdly, it's more relaxed until someone gets the like, stupid money. Cause then you can't, watching someone lose $350,000 is devastating. If you whammy on 50, or you go home, or you had 250 and you go home with 100, or you had whatever, like there's a good balance. Ending on a whammy is devastating. It's devastating.
Anybody really surprised you and just did something you did not expect from them?
Every once in a while, someone stays who I thought should walk away or who I thought might walk away. And they use the same logic I use on them, which is like, I came here with nothing. I'm already winning. Like, this is great. Like, let's go for it. I mean, it's a great attitude to have. It's the way to really enjoy the time on the show. Um, and then some people have just blown me away emotionally. The moments that I take away from the show that like stay with me from the show are things like, millionaire Marsha, who got a BMW, I think, and you can fact check me, but I'm pretty sure it was a BMW. And she started crying, and I was like, why is this like such an important car? And she said her ex-husband asked her what her favorite car was, and when she said the BMW, he was like scoffed and said she was a loser who was never going to have that and would have to work her whole life. Like, she was never going to have it. And so she it wasn't about the car for her in that moment. It was that she felt like a winner. And she was like, fuck my ex-husband, he's garbage. I'm here. I've just had the greatest time of my life and I'm going home with the car. And just the like redemption for Marsha in the face of a guy who didn't support her. It just broke my heart that she had ever had someone in her life that didn't believe in her, those are the moments that really affect me. The mom from Seattle, I think it's Debbie, whose son is autistic and loves the Seahawks, and that she creates this whole life for her son, and the consistency of what they do together, and how she's like single momming him through life. Her devotion to him was so clear. And she won that Seahawks package. And I mean, I could cry talking about it right now because it was so emotional. And of course, she walked away. Thank God. I was like, it's so hard for me because you just want to say, go, go, go. Please don't play this game anymore, which I'm not allowed to do. But man, I would have really been upset with her if she hadn't walked away. She made the right decision.
Anything else that's really surprised you just as being a host?
I'm surprised at how much I love it and how exciting it is. I really didn't I didn't really know what to expect. I thought it'd be a lot of like reading on the teleprompter or something, and just sort of like guiding people through the steps. And there's a lot more to it, as it turns out, and I really pride myself. It became clear really early on, like day one. I remember the very first day, I think we did 2 shows, my very first day I ever hosted. And the second show, I was like wiping tears off of the contestant's face. And we were like holding hands and like looking into each other's eyes. And I was like, oh wow, this is a real privilege to be in this moment with this human being who didn't expect to be here, who's really like, I'm gonna finish and like go home or like come back the next day, do another one. You know what I mean? This is her moment. So being present for that person's the biggest thing that's gonna happen to them, maybe in their life. That's what's really wild about it, you know? Seeing people who like didn't have a wedding and now they get a wedding. Or, there was a woman whose mom was diagnosed with MS and she was getting married, and we put a wheelchair accessible van on the board for her so her mom could go to all her wedding events and not worry about getting around. And, just things like that just really move me.
Been a very busy year for you. I know that you directed a film called Cocaine Bear, a very serious period drama
Thank
based
you.
on real
Thank you.
events.
Hmm.
What was the experience of? I don't. I mean, it's too long. I think we could talk for a few hours about it. But what stood out to you about that project and just the whole experience?
The tone, I think I'm always I really I don't know why, but I just have always found that every time I get put into a box that I like to break out of it. I like to I don't like for people to think they know what I'm going to do next. I really like surprising people. I feel I've earned the trust of my audience to say like, come with me, I'm going to entertain you. We're going to have a good time. And Cocaine Bear was sort of a really great example of that. I felt like no one would have expected me to make that movie. And I got to work with people who also I knew would surprise the audience, like Margot Martindale and Jesse Tyler Ferguson. And, even the kids, I was like, nobody's going to expect these kids to do cocaine in a movie. Like, what? And so I just really loved the notion of like surprising people. Just not, I don't want people to be able to predict what I'm going to do next. It's a really fun place to be as an entertainer. Um and to know that and honestly it was like almost a course correction for me. Like I felt like I was being painted by the media with a certain brush, and I just wanted to make sure that couldn't continue. It's like, no, you're not allowed to just you I have to be able to write my own narrative about who I am as an artist. And Cocaine Bear was a way for me to continue doing that. Because it just took, I just think everybody was like, oh, we thought she might make one thing, and actually she can make this other thing too.
There's another film that I had the chance to see that's not quite as absurd, but maybe comes close at South by Southwest called Bottoms,
Yeah.
which I know you're a producer on. What can you preview for people who haven't seen them? What should they expect?
Well, that was, I am lucky enough to be in the DGA, and I serve on the committee that awards the first time feature director awards at the DGA Awards. And so I was able to watch Shiva Baby really early and became a fan of Emma Seligman, the director of Bottoms, writer director of Bottoms, and Rachel Sennett, who was the star of Shiva Baby and also wrote and stars in Bottoms with Emma. And so I just remember saying to my team, like, my production team, like, we got to find, like, what's their next movie? Like, what are they doing? And for a while, it was kind of like nothing. We were just keeping our like eyes open for them. And then they came around with Bottoms, and I kind of was like, I'll do anything with them. But the fact that it's about queer girls in high school who start a fight club in order to fuck cheerleaders. And I just was like, yeah, I would want to see that if I were 17 years old. It was like it's a more risque, crazier book smart or super bad, and I just felt like again it was about how do I promote these voices, these new, fresh, young women who are coming into Hollywood and who need a leg up. And we were able to partner with Orion and MGM to make the movie, and here it comes. And I'm just so thrilled for them because it was really for them. It was literally like, how do you want to do it? We did not do a ton of notes on the script. We supported all the casting. You know, Io, we did not really know Io. She had not, the Bear hadn't aired yet. She gave an amazing audition, and they were like, "We love this girl," and we were like, "If let's do it." And next thing you know, she's starring in the Bear and is fantastic. So, um, it really was about supporting them. That was the I mean, that's what I do as a producer. Like, how do I create opportunities for other people? I mean, that's what producing is.
Do you have any other projects in the works at the moment?
I do, but if you don't know about them, then I'm not supposed to talk about them.
That's the safe choice, unfortunately. I've learned that in the past.
Yeah, I mean, right now, and of course, we're on strike right now. You know, so we're very supportive of the strike. You know, we're really like kind of sitting on things, and hopeful that it gets resolved and that the actors don't also have to go on strike. I mean, I'll be really devastated if that all happens and comes to pass, and I just hope everybody gets a fair deal and sooner rather than later.
We haven't talked a lot about your acting, but I saw Call Jane last year, which I thought was a very terrific film that is couldn't be more different from Cocaine Bear and Bottoms. And I always think back to Catch Me If You Can. I know you had a sort of small role in that, but there was a
Yep.
film I was thinking about as soon as I knew we'd be speaking, which is this one here.
Wow, yeah.
I have this pre-owned Blockbuster DVD that I found, but I was like, I'm pretty sure I have that movie. Do you get asked about this movie very often?
Oh, I don't at all. But what's wild, so I absolutely loved working on that movie, and Glenn Close and I have done all the other weird stuff together. We went on a weird, like, we ended up on the same like tour of the Galapagos Islands together back in the day. And Jimmy Marsden and I are still good friends. I mean, I literally was just texting him about jury duty. So I think we've done five or six. He and Paul Rudd are my two. That are my co-stars the most. I've worked with Jimmy, I don't know, at least a bunch of times, and one of them, the first time was with Heights. Just absolutely loved making that movie in New York. Had some great stories making that movie.
Or any other gems from your resume that you feel like you don't get to talk about enough?
Well, one of my favorite movie making experiences, besides Wet Hot American Summer, which is probably my all-time favorite, but second to that would have been Zack and Miri Make a Porno. And I love Kevin Smith. I think he is an icon of American independent film scene, and I absolutely loved working on the movie. I loved working with Seth Rogen, loved working with that whole team of people, and I came into the business thinking I would be a rom-com star. And I have been in one rom-com, and it was Zack and Miri Make a Porno. And I think I remember bawling my eyes out at the end of that experience because I just knew it had lived up, and I loved falling in love and being funny on screen. I really felt like I was living in my power. Like that's what I was meant to do as an entertainer. And I rarely got to do it, and I don't know when I will get to do it again.
I think I remember seeing Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist and then Zack and Miri Make a Porno right after, and they have some similarities, but they really I think take different tonal directions.
They really do, yeah.
So well, yeah, but I really enjoy that. It's really nice to get to revisit everything. I hope that I'm sure we won't know what to expect from you next, given the trajectory of everything. But I hope everything works out, and looking forward to seeing you in many different places in the future.
Thank you. And yeah, and I hope you're looking forward to the next season of Pressure Luck because it's coming out this fall.
I can't wait. Thanks so much, Elizabeth. It's very nice to meet you.
Thanks, Abe. Take care. Bye.